congrats on season 4. I mean, that's pretty crazy to say. It's 1960 now. There's some change in the air. So, Rachel, tell me how you all are going to shake things up this season.
Obviously, you know how we left Midge and Susie last season, dead in the water a little bit. And so this is a season about rebuilding. It's really a make it or break it moment for them. They have one shot to recover from this, at least in their minds. And so they're thinking bigger. They're growing both together and apart. You know, they have joint business and individual business to attend to. Um, it's a season about thinking bigger.
Alex, tell me how your character is really going to, support Midge in this moment of her career. Because, I mean, we get a little glimpse of the not so marvelous Midge, which is just very relatable, honestly.
Yeah, it's very similar to having a kid that screws up royally, that you have to find that fine line of, if I scold and scream, am I going to actually help or hinder this moment? So Susie's kind of got to walk a tiny bit on eggshells to still be supportive, but also try to be firm and direct her in the right way. To be a good manager, you've got to manage someone. You got to manage their feelings, and you have to manage their career. And there's so much weight on her shoulders. And I think she also becomes very aware that to count on this one client who is unpredictable and anything can happen, as we've seen on the tarmac at the end of season 3, it's really dangerous to put all your eggs in one basket. So Susie really makes a decision to diversify and try to grow her client list in this next season.
No doubt. There's a lot in store. I love the dynamic between your characters on screen. You two have obviously worked together for 4 seasons. Alex, what's been the highlight of teaming up with Rachel?
Oh, God, what's been the highlight?
Wow, think a little harder.
Really? I think it's just all the diner scenes. We're at our best when we're allowed to eat and sit. That's kind of our highlight.
And when we get to, you say this a lot.
What?
When we get to fight.
Yes, I like fighting a lot. I like fighting with Rachel. I like when things get very hot, and she's a pro. Like, she's always prepared. She always knows her lines. We can kind of count on. I fall apart a lot more, but we know we've both done a lot of work, and we're not no one's slacking off, and it's nice to have a dependable partner.
Rachel, are you two like sisters now, would you say?
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Yeah, I think I absolutely. I mean, I couldn't possibly imagine having done this last 4 years with anyone else. I feel really lucky to have gotten to not only see up close how talented an actor Alex is, but also how thoughtful and brilliant a person she is too. I mean, and it's been so fun to get to grow together with these characters, and also get to know the ways in which we're really similar and also really different. It's been
I'd love to say sisters, but I'm being her mother, so I think it's a little more mother-daughter, but yeah.
We'll go with that. I mean, Alex, speaking of talent, I mean, come on. This moment when you won the Best Supporting Actress Emmy in 2019, what do you remember about this moment? I mean, your speech was so memorable. It's one of the best speeches I feel like I've ever heard.
I look like a linebacker, though. Look at those pads. It's so weird.
I was about to say, the look was insane. So good.
That was made by a gentleman named Kevin Bennett, a designer. Anyway, that was a pretty wonderful moment. I had no idea it was going to become, something that was talked about, or I don't know. I didn't know what it would become, but it was just so nice to kind of share that story and have that piece of my grandmother and mother out there and shared, and it felt really good. But it was an interesting, it's just strange. I've seen t-shirts that say "step out of line," which is so bizarre, and And I should be getting a cut of that, right?
I mean, we love it. It's such an iconic line now. And it was a moment in history that you made for us. So thank you for that. And speaking of empowering, people, your characters in the show, Rachel, what has it been like to be able to take on and play such an empowering character and be a role model for women everywhere?
It's been so awesome to get to play a role that does that in a myriad of ways. I love that this is somebody who refused to be beaten down by a man in her life. She picked herself back up and rose from the ashes. But I also really appreciate that for all of the ways that it's easy to look up to her. She's unapologetically confident. She's funny. She's smart. She's sharp. She's also super messy and wholly imperfect, and feels that same kind of pressure that I think all women feel to be able to have it all and do it all. She feels that too, and she's not always perfect in her pursuit of her goals. And so I feel really lucky to be able to play such a three-dimensional and well-rounded character at the center of the show, especially one in this time period, and more of that all around.
I think
we love seeing that, truly.
I think what's cool about the shows that Amy creates and these characters is she gives you a plethora of women that you can aspire to be. And they're so different that Midge is magical and does amazing things. Susie is a different animal. She looks different. She sounds different. She walks different. Marin's character is this other generation. And every single woman on this show is someone to look up to and has handled it differently, has bitten off from the same beast that we all have to do as women and handled it in a very different way and been successful in their own way.
Absolutely. And it's been great to see that. Really quick before we go, I want to do a fashion flashback. Rachel, Midge's fashion is a huge character in the show in itself. So we got to talk about some of our favorite looks. Tell me how this look from season 1, I believe it was your very first look. Yeah. How is this Midge's signature look?
It's iconic. I mean, that's Midge's signature pink. That was the coat that launched an entire television series. I think I had that coat on for almost the entire pilot. I feel like that is the Midge. What I love about that particular look is that is Midge when we meet her. This is perfect Midge living her perfect life exactly how she envisioned it, and her relationship to her life, but also the color pink has evolved over time as she's evolved. And it's
new season, the red. This is another Midge signature.
That's one of my favorite looks. That's one of my favorite looks from the show period, but also from this season in particular. Love a monochromatic fit. That hat is incredible. You can't quite see the details in that photo, but it was made by our milliner Lynn, and it's got all this swirly felt detail on it. I love that look.
And Milo, fresh face. What can you tell me? How does he fit into this world?
Oh, Alex can tell you about that.
Alex.
Yes, Susie and Milo have a torrid love affair.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. He's holding flowers here, and it looks like they're for Midge.
No, don't be fooled. I got all of the filthy sex scenes with Milo. I even start wearing some of his clothing. We swap clothing.
Incredible. And this one, Midge on a boat. I mean, this is a really fun look, more of a departure for her, wouldn't you say?
Oh, I love that look. That whole Catskills section of the show was a total like its own lane of fashion on the show. That hat was insane. You can't quite see it, but it's this straw thing. It had a thing on the inside, and on the straw, I think they hand painted butterflies or something. This look is a dress over a pair of shorts, which is a look that I had never seen from the period, but was very fashion forward. It was highly uncomfortable, but beautiful on screen.
Last question, really quick. So many great looks. Just tell me how you guys really brought the fashion from the 50s to the 60s this season.
Yeah, I mean, Donna made a really good point about those periods. When you think of the 60s, you think of, Alex is laughing because her clothes have not changed at all. But when you think of the 60s, you think of a very specific look, but the early 60s is still a transitional period. So Donna's been playing with the evolution into those familiar shapes like that A-line dress and the, you know, some of those bucket hats and all the go-go boots and all the very, very iconic 60s fashion. So we're playing with what that transition looks like, where there's a combination of the two as we head into a new era.
Love that. Thank you so much for your time today, ladies. You're so empowering, and it's so fun to see you both on screen together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.